In our initial Module 4 assignment, the assignment is to create our initial risk register. And here all we're going to do is define our initial risks. What could negatively or positively affect the project, the date that the risk is identified, and which constraint is affected. Here, what we're really going to focus on is clarity and completeness of a risk. And in defining our risk, we're not defining a requirement, we're not creating an action item, it's not a scope statement, it is specifically what single thing could affect our project, positively or negatively. Something that we have not included in scope or have not anticipated. We're trying to anticipate things that could affect our project. So my first risk here is that the air filtration system may not be conducive to the manufacturer. The floor space may not be conducive to a workstation layout. The power demands may not be sufficient. As we look at each of these 8 risks, they're very specific. If you're putting "and" into your risk, that could be a double-barreled risk, or what should be 2 risks. At the highest level, a risk could be, we won't achieve schedule. That's not a very good risk. Why is it we couldn't achieve schedule? We couldn't get resources on time, we don't get funded on time, we don't get approved on time. Whatever it is, the very specific things that could happen that prevent us from achieving our defined scope or achieving our defined schedule, or could impact our budget. So receiving machines on time may require overnight shipping here, my 7th risk. That clearly affects budget because we're overnight shipping. The floor space may not be conducive. That clearly affects scope. In coming modules, what we're going to do is look at severity, probability, and impact, which is going to have an impact on, or an effect on, what our sequence is, which are the most important risks that demand a response. Also, I have a positive risk here. Early delivery of the capability could earn a high charitable donation. This was part of what we discussed in the scope in our charter. That's a schedule impact, but this is an example of a positive risk where we could exploit. Now, notice too, in the risk register you download, there's also definitions on the second tab. If you get stuck, that's what you have the definitions to instruct you on what each column means.